It's Moodle time! Alright, it is Moodle time, and this is the video about, and I think it's going to be a part 1, and there'll be a part 2. This is the video about lessons. And I've actually done a lesson here that I'm going to show you, explain how it works. I did it in this unit here called Psychology, and I've called it Music. And so I want to show you that. I want to explain how it works, and the initial settings of how to create your own lesson. And then the part 2 will be about actually fleshing out a lesson. And it's a beast. This is a video. I was going to do this one first, or the quiz one first. It's kind of a toss-up, but I think I'll do this one first. This is actually more difficult than quizzes. This is, after doing this, I would say if you are planning to do an online course, you should do lessons. If you are planning just to have a resource bank kind of thing for a Moodle, or even have one where you're teaching in class, and for a period students are somewhere, are online for a while and then back in class, that kind of thing, then I would say don't use lessons either, because there's a lot of work. But it depends on how comfortable you are with it, and how you can also do a simpler lesson and a more complex lesson. So it really depends. That's kind of your call. But if it's just for resources, if you want a Moodle just to share resources, don't make lessons. That's going to be a lot of work, extra work, and I don't think is worth it. Okay, so let's take a look. So on this one, I called it Music. And in here, I can actually, this is the teacher settings, so I have an option to edit or preview, edit, take a look at reports and create essays. And for each one, when I go to edit, you can see all the things I put inside of this. And if that looks like a lot of things, yep, it is a lot of things. And this would just be like, to me, this seems like just kind of a typical lesson. There's a lot of things that you'd put inside of it. And then reports, I tried it out, and it of course I just flew through it, and I got a really low score and everything, because I wasn't really concerned about the questions that were built into the lesson. And then also I have an essay question that I haven't graded here, but if I clicked on it, I could see that I obviously didn't put any time into this essay. This is my essay right here, and I could mark it now and give comments and save changes. All right. But the lesson is basically, it's like a book on steroids. So it's like a book where you can go from one page to the next, but they don't call them pages. They call them, you can see in the edit here, they call them content. Well, I guess they do call them content pages, but it's like content, and then you could have some questions, and that's what I have here, multiple choice here, and true or false, and some other ones down here. So you can have a lesson and then questions right away, just to check for the students understand what they are supposed to understand. So I think that's a really nice dynamic way to do things, and definitely if I was doing an online class, I'd be putting lessons in. So there, what I'm going to show you about this lesson, I think I want to show you this first. I watched a bunch of videos where, and I'll just, I'll move myself here, a bunch of videos on lessons, and a lot of them have, especially when they're going to go into detail about making lessons, they have like a flow chart. So I actually created a flow chart for my lesson, and at first I thought, okay, flow chart's overkill, but actually after doing it, the flowchart is actually really helpful. Now I wouldn't do a flowchart like this for each one. This is a little bit too nice. In fact, what I did for mine, I did it on a piece of paper. You won't be able to see it very well, but this is what it looks like, my flowchart. It's just basically all the ideas and arrows and moving them. So I did that page and this page. This covers my whole lesson. Now, I do recommend writing down some way, some structure, so that you understand how you, because you can have the design in your head, but you're going to forget, or it's going to become too much if it gets too complex. So this is a somewhat complex flowchart. You can see when you start the lesson, there's a content page that discusses the intro to good songs. And then there's a song IQ test that I have. There's a question, and there's a right answer and a wrong answer. If you get a wrong answer, you have this other content page that's called Really, Are You Sure? And it helps you, and I'll show you all this. It helps you make a better choice next time, and then it goes back to this test. So you can be stuck in this loop forever if you keep deciding to put the wrong answer. As soon as you put the right answer, you go on to the next one, which is country music. Then there's going to be a question about country music, and whether you get the question right or wrong, you're going to go on to the next unit, which is the parody music. And actually there's no question after the parody music content. It just goes right to the best music content. So under the best music, then we have 4 questions. And this is what we call a cluster, and so I'll show you more about that. These 4 questions, because they're designed in a cluster, they won't be necessarily, they'll be random. So I could have made it so it's like question 1, 2, 3, 4 all the time, but I decided to do a cluster, and so those 4 questions are going to be randomized when for each student. And then whether you get them right or wrong, it'll go to the end of the lesson. And there actually are a couple buttons that I've created so that you can exit the lesson around here, and I don't know if it was around here or here, I don't know, there's another place. I didn't draw those arrows in because they were kind of just for fun, so I feel like this is the actual flow chart of my lesson, and so I'll refer to this from time to time. Hopefully that makes sense. The way you would add a lesson is the way you add most things. You go turn editing on, okay, and then you can go add activity or resource, and you'll notice that it's under activities. It's a more interactive kind of thing, and there's one here called lessons. Okay, so then we click on add, and then you would put the name of it. For mine, I said music. You can call this a music 2, maybe it's the second lesson for music. And then we go through the settings. So let me go through the settings. Let's go back to music. So I've already done all that editing, so now I just want to show you what it looks like. But in order to do that, I think I need to edit the settings in music, and I'm gonna have to change the availability. Sorry, I'll try to go quicker on this one. So I've called this one music, the appearance, a progress bar. I'm going to change that to yes. By default it says no. A progress bar just helps students see how far they've made it through the lesson. If you click down here, you can also see that there's show more, and there's actually a ton of things, and this video honestly could last for 20 hours and we probably wouldn't get through everything that we would want to do or could do, but I'll try to show you all the ones that I think are excellent. So we got a progress bar here. The link media, I don't think we need to do much there. Display ongoing score. You could say yes, because as you answer questions, your score increases, that kind of thing. That probably normally I would just keep it no. Progress bar, I think I would say yes, but I'm not going to actually keep track of a score in a lesson for myself. Display menu. This is on the side of the lesson. There's like a table of contents that you can click through, and so I would imagine that once you've done the lesson once, then it'd be nice just to click through if you're reviewing. So you can say no, which I'm going to keep it at no, but if you said yes, you could also say, okay, well, once you get, let's say once you get 80% on the, let's say 80% on this lesson, then you can just quickly go through it, and that would make sense. Okay, but again, I'm just going to say no to that. Slideshow. I don't know much about this, but it displays the lesson as a slideshow. I'm not going to do that. Maximum number of answers. This is an important one. If you keep it at 4 is the default. When you have multiple choice questions, or you have any question where there's multiple answers, right now you could only have 4. So if you're like, no, I need multiple choice of 5 or 6 or whatever, click on here, change it to 5, 6, 10, whatever you want to. That way you're not restricted. Now, You may not want to have like 10 showing, because then you have to kind of scroll through it a little bit. So it wouldn't make sense to probably do 20 if most of your questions only have 4 or 5. Just kind of think, okay, what's the max? 8 maybe, or for me, I feel like I would never go over 6. But again, that depends. There's also questions where it could be matching. So if you have matching, sometimes matching, I go to about 10 or 12 questions. So maybe I should. Anyway, if you're finding that you're restricted, once you're actually fleshing out your lesson, come back here and change this to a number that's higher. Use default feedback. This is when they get a question right or wrong. If it's right, they'll say, yeah, good job. I think maybe it says here, oh, that's the correct answer if you get it right, or that's the wrong answer if you get it wrong. And I think that's pretty good. If you can always overwrite the default feedback, and I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. We'll take a look at that a little bit more detail. Link to the next activity, so you could also go to the next activity, which I'm not going to do here. Okay, availability. I'll go to show more. Here you can set when this lesson is available for. For me, I would not have this because unless I really wanted to be in control of the pacing of the course. But you can see you can set a time limit if you enable it. You can set, but I don't want people to rush through my stuff here. Password protected, you could do that as well. If you said yes, you'd put the password in here. Allow lessons to be attempted offline. I think this one's worth saying yes to, because if students have the mobile app for Moodle, they could then do their lessons through that. So I'm going to say yes is a good default for that, actually. Flow control. So I'll go to show more again. Allow students to review. Provide option to try questions again. So I'm going to say, yep, you can try things again. And I think, oh yeah. So if you're going to try again, it's for no points. Okay. Maximum number of attempts. Now, right now I have it as 1 attempt. I'm going to give people, let's say, 3 attempts. Go through this 3 times. After that, you're just wasting your time. No, I don't know. You could have it up to 5 times, I guess. Or I think is there unlimited? No, 10 times the tops. Okay. Actions after correct an answer. There are a lot of options here. I'm not going to bother changing this one, but just know that we're scratching the surface of the lesson, and even the surface is huge. So we're going to just keep going here. Number of pages to show. 1. Now I don't know why you would have multiple pages. I just don't know why you would, but 1 is good. There is probably a good reason to do that as well, but I don't know. Okay, grade. So I've already done this one, so now I can't change it from point grades because that's what I was set. Unless I think if I deleted my results, maybe I could then change it. But there's already some grades. I've already made an attempt and got 30% on it, so it's set to point, but there's other options here. And then you can say what the maximum grade is. Okay, and just out of 100 is fine. And don't worry too much about categories for now anyway, unless you get into that later on. And the grade to pass, you could say, okay, well, you need a 50 to pass, or you could set it at 80 or whatever you decide. And then practice lesson. Oh yeah, if it's just a practice lesson, it doesn't go in the grade book. I would make all mine practice lessons. I don't think I'd assess through a lesson, but anyway. You could also say, actually, the assessment could go to the grade book, and then, or to the Moodle grade book, and then you just don't enter it into EDSB in the fall here. But that's so that they could see how they've done, and so you could be like, listen, you obviously didn't learn that lesson because you got 40% or 30% on that lesson. So in a way, maybe it'd be good to make sure the marks get put up there. Retakes allowed. Yeah, I'm going to allow people to take retakes. All right. Okay. Show on course page. This is common module settings. We're going to skip through that for now. But you see there's some extra modes there. Restrict access. This one I do think is something that I would use. If I had, say, 3 lessons, say music, music 1, music, or music 2, music 3, I might add a restriction here and say you have to complete, say, music before you can do music 2. And then before you do music 3, you have to complete music 2, that kind of thing. So you can click on, you can choose on which activity they have to finish here. And then it must be marked complete, or it must be complete with a pass grade, that kind of thing. For this one, though, I'm not going to do that, but this is a kind of a cool option. If you want to just have it so they can always do all the lessons, well, then don't put any restrictions in there. And then you can say when you expect it to be completed, and you can have it so students can manually mark if it's completed or not. And I think that's a nice thing, so they can track their own progress. And don't worry about these last 2 for now. Although the competencies, upon completing, you could say complete the competency, like you could set all of that, but I haven't done any of that as well. So I'm going to save and display this. Attempt 1, the ongoing score is displayed for the students. Log in as a student to test the ongoing score. So let's go ahead and do that. Switch roles to student. Okay. So I just had to clean up some bugs there. I just cut out a bunch of video because I found a few bugs that I had to, a few settings that I created that screwed up my original lesson. So here we go. So here we have music. So that's the start of my lesson here. I've gone into it. I'm as a student right now, so I'm seeing what the student would see, and it's going into intro to good songs. And so that's this part here. After I'm done that, I'll go to the test. So let's just take a look. So the students would be watching these 4 videos. And then after that, they can either quit or we can test your song IQ. So here we go. Here is now this question here. And this is a multiple choice one. Which is the best song to listen to on a sunny afternoon? And so here's all the choices. If they click the wrong one, it says, really, are you sure? And then they have to watch this one here. This is, have you ever seen the rain? And so, and I say what? Watch again, close your eyes this time. So then after you do that, then you're going to know that it's this one here. Have you ever seen the rain? Now we go on to the next. So now we're at this point right here. We're going up to the country music, and then there'll be a little test for country music, or a little question there. So here we'll be listening to some country music songs. And again, I wish I could make these YouTube videos smaller on the page, and I haven't figured that out yet. But okay, now what do you think? So we click on there. You can see now on the progress bar here we're at 33%. We're just at 24 now. We're at 33. Is country music good? If you say no or yes, both answers will result in going here to parody music. The correct answer is going to be yes, but if you click no, you can see there's some feedback here. So your answer is no, response is true. Sometimes it isn't good, but why so negative? No points for you. So if you would have said yes, I had a different response there, and then you would get a point here. So I didn't get a point for that. Then parody music, and so here you can see it's Weird Al, and so I show 4 of his videos, and then there it says no question, Weird Al is good. And so this shows here the parody music one with Weird Al. There is no questions after it. And so it just goes directly to the best music. Okay. So, and that's going to be another content page. So I click on that. Now here's another content page. Again, content page don't have to have just videos or anything. And I'll show you in the next video. You can put anything in there, links. You can put text, charts, whatever, images. So here we have the best music. Here's a list of some sweet tunes, and then here's a list of them. And then either you can wimp out, that would again exit out of the lesson, or you can take the final song IQ test. Now at this point, let me show you where we're at in this thing here. The best music is here. We've just clicked on to take the IQ test, the 4 final questions, and whether you get them right or wrong, it'll end the lesson. So we're almost done the lesson here. So you can see this one is a short answer question. What is the best song ever? So you can write in whatever you want to, put foil. And it says my answer, but then it says what is best for you may not be best for someone else in that case, and blah blah blah. Okay, so there's official no best song. Great. So it gives you that response right away. And then go to the next one. It says write me lyrics to a song you've just created. I want to cry is the first line, and so on, right? Okay, so this would be an essay question, and this one you'll have to mark on your own. So I'll submit that. I'm at 75% completion of this lesson. Match the song with the correct feeling. So intense, it would be My Sweet Lord, Sound of Silence, or Don't Think Twice, It's Alright. It's definitely Sound of Silence by Disturbed. Chill would just be Don't Think Twice, It's Alright. And happy would be My Sweet Lord by George Harrison. Okay, then we go click. And then it says you have earned 2 points out of 9. So now I know I got that one right. How old are you? And so I'll put my age. Of course, it's not a real question that you'd ask people, but anyway. And the response is that's about right. If it wasn't 40 and different, I have different responses, and ultimately gives you points or doesn't give you points. Okay, and so I press continue. And it says you have earned 3 out of 5. So I'm at the end of the lesson. 3 out of 5 of the automatically graded questions. And for a lesson, it'd be great if they're all automatically graded, because then they can do the lesson whenever you want, and it doesn't rely on you going in and marking. But if you're putting an essay question in, you have to grade it. And I'll show you that in just a second. Your one essay question will be graded and added to your final score at a later date. Your current grade without the essay is 3 out of 10. So the essay question, I made it out of 5 points, and that's why I could get as much as 8 out of 10 if I get the essay question all perfect. Okay, so I've done 92%. Now the reason why it doesn't say 100% here is because I didn't get this question wrong. I don't think I got it wrong on this time, and so I actually didn't end up doing this content, I believe, and so that's why 92% of the lesson, like, that's why maybe hitting a progress bar isn't the best, because if everything's really straightforward and you have to do it in order to pass, then this will be nice because it would say 100% done. So that would be good. So then I can now here review the lesson, return to Moodle time, or view grades. Okay, so that would be the end of that. I'll just return to Moodle time. I'm going to switch out of student view, and I just want to show you. I want to show you the. And I'll change this back to turn editing on. I want to go back to this lesson and just show you a few things here. So again, you can preview it. You can preview. You can edit this, so you can see again. And video 2 will show more of this. The reports. So you can see here I got 30% 1 minute ago, and before that I also got 30%. So I'm not improving here any. So that's 3 out of 10. Now, once the essay question is complete, that could again go up. And I can go to grade essays. Now here it looks like there's 2 that are not graded. So I can click on one. Let's see, this is the second one, I think. I want to cry, and they say not good enough. I want a better song, but I'll give you 1 out of 5. And so then we'll save changes, and that will show that it's graded. So the nice thing about this is you can grade everything in this view. And of course I haven't graded a real student yet, so I don't know how awesome it will be, but you can see you can do all that. And now you can see that went up to 40% because the essay question boosted the mark up a little bit. All right. If you're with me still, I'm going to do part 2 video, and in the part 2 video I'm going to actually show you how I made how to make a lesson. And so get ready for the intensity of that. See you soon.